Department 16 is now back in session.
Presiding. You need to do that for the record.
That's cool.
Please be seated.
All right. And, almost ready. As far as 11:45, I'm not, we're going to know whatever I had at 11:45 account.
Oh, thank you.
We'll do that at 11:30 on Monday, right at the time. Anyway, this for the, I don't want to keep too many balls in the air. And a little break we had, I had a chance to review, I guess, part of
Well,
that.
Mr. Robbins is here, let's see what I can do.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Robbins.
So I can get it.
One?
All right. Anyway, Mr. Robbins, I'm not going to issue a minute order. I'm going to go ahead and make a decision open court. And I've had a chance to spend some time with part of Roman numeral B, rules governing appearances by simultaneous audio-visual transmissions, equipment for civil and family court proceedings. And I just want to let the record reflect that I did have a chance to look at the definition section under Rule 1, and more specifically, paragraph 6, which defines good cause. And in a general sense, it appears to me that the Supreme Court is giving the trial courts a lot of discretion as far as how this rule applies. And the reason why I say that is this: there's even a section that, well, I guess that'd be limited to family court proceedings, but courts are given discretion to modify the rule, which you don't see very often, right? And here's what I think is very important as far as the rule is concerned, is Rule 2, policy favoring simultaneous audiovisual transmission equipment and appearances. That's important, right? And this is what our Supreme Court said. The intent of this rule is to provide uniformity in practices and procedures relating to simultaneous audiovisual transmission equipment, appearances, to improve access to courts and reduce litigation costs, shall permit parties to the extent feasible to appear by simultaneous audio-visual transmission equipment at appropriate proceedings pursuant to the rule. Trials, it's appropriate. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a determination under 6K that it says such other factors the court may in each individual case determined to be relevant, and that's to help with this witness. And so I'm throwing under that provision. And so I'm going to permit him to testify by audio-visual transmission. However, and this is what I don't know, and Mr. Parker, you're going to have to prepare the rule granting your motion to exclude. And what I mean by that is this. I expect to see language in there because I don't know all the nuances of the testimony, right? I don't. And so, and we can discuss that, but submit an order, and I'll look at them and sign them, and because there's certain areas he won't be able to go into. For example, questions regarding the document.
Yes, sure.
Got it?
I'll work with Mr. Robbins over the weekend to put it together.
Yes.
When you say his motion to exclude, you're talking about his original
No, I'm talking about.
supplemental motion, or,
I'm talking about.
because he didn't file one this morning here.
I'm going to whatever's in the air as far as juggling, because it appeared to me his opposition, I should say, right?
That's correct, sir.
Plaintiff's opposition to Milwaukee Instruments motion pursuant to 43B for contemporaneous. So I'm granting in part, denying in part. I'm going to let him do it. I'm just putting limitations based upon the fact that the documents weren't produced appropriately before his deposition.
And I'm just trying to make you a record, Your Honor. So it's not that there was a counter motion, it's just based on argument in his opposition to my motion to have Mr. Brown appear remotely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's the best way to say it, sir. Okay, anything else?
Oh, how long are you anticipating for lunch?
What do you need?
Uh,
That's my first question.
Why don't
Once you approach the bench and.
You can do it by yourself.
Yeah, we have no opposition to him.
No, yeah, we agree to his request.
Okay. And what we're gonna do is, we might have a slightly longer lunch break, and in fact, we will, in order to accommodate Mr. Rasmussen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Your Honor, looking at.
It's good cause. Just like the other.
That hurts you.
And I'll say this, I've done that, and it's tough. I've done that.
Your Honor, can we do
Probably
this?
Mr. Parker hasn't, because he's slim and young and.
Not young. Working on slim. Your Honor, maybe this is a way of handling the lunch issue. We're still working on the Casey Aiken read-in.
Okay.
There are some additional adds and subtracts, I guess. And it lasts roughly 59 minutes. So we have one that would get us to about 11:30, or somewhere in there. Maybe we take an early lunch at 11:30 and then come back at 1. That would accommodate Mr. Rasmussen's issue. And then we can finish up in the afternoon.
Okay, and I think what you're saying, you're gonna show a deposition?
We're gonna show the short one, which will get us about 11:30. And then the other one is 59 minutes. So that, we can't show that one, it's not ready yet anyway. We're still finishing it up between what the additional parties to the defendants wanted to add. And so right now it's clocked at roughly 59 minutes, so we can't show that one yet.
And if we handle it that way, maybe, because you have co-counsel, it's just gonna be showing a video deposition, maybe you can leave earlier, not rush.
I was thinking about that.
I think that's what you should do.
Teddy, here's a short one to pre.
The short one is the pre.
That's the problem. That's my witness. I wanted to see it.
So if we could do that, we could leave maybe 11:30 and come back at 1
And maybe for the one that's not your client, you have co-counsel with you, maybe you can come back at your convenience. But I wanna get you out of here.
I'm trying, Your Honor. But that first one is my witness.
Oh, we could start Casey Aiken. We're at the point where maybe we get 30 minutes.
We're close. I'm gonna continue to try to work it out while
Let's just go with what we got. I'm now becoming a problem. I don't want to be a problem for anybody.
You have to make it, you do have absolutely, yeah, no problem.
That way you can get,
Yeah, we'll go to 12 and just get it out.
then you get your extra time. Got it.
All right. Let's get started. I want to still make it high and then I'll sneak out.
Absolutely, there's no problem with that.
The record should reflect that offered an alternative solution.
You did, and I'll take that. Yes. Yes, guys, you really.
But that's
you want
important.
me to, so, nothing, okay?
Yeah, no, I get it, and I've done that myself, and maybe all of us at one point have done that, and that's very important. So that's what we're gonna do. So, we're gonna bring, is there anything else we need to handle?
Nothing related to it.
And is the deposition ready to be queued?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
On it, Your Honor.
So, Ebay, can we test the audio before the jury comes in? Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
Please be seated.
All right, do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Yes, Lisa.
So we have the technical bar.
We're good.
If you play the video, is it okay?
Yeah.
On the TV?
It is, yeah, we could proceed for now.
Yes, we can just use the TV, but we're going to need to.
Yeah, tell them after lunch to come in.
Judge says just do it after lunch. Okay, thank you. All right, we're ready.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning.
Good morning.
And it's my understanding we're going to continue on with the plaintiff's case in chief by audio-visual deposition testimony, is that correct?
That's right, John.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I don't know if we did this or not, but have the party stipulated to the presence of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I believe Mr. Flanagan was not here when we did our original appearances. He is here with us now.
All right, thank you, sir. We're ready to proceed, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, the plaintiffs have called their next witness, Mr. Michael Dupree, via video testimony.
Would you state your name again and spell for the record?
Sure. Michael Dupree. E-I, capital P-R-E-T-E.
So when did you become the controller for Hanna Instruments?
I would say about 6 years ago.
That would have been roughly 2017?
Yes,
So in any event, in 2017, you became the controller of Hanna Instruments, is that correct?
correct.
Now, with regards to Hanna, will you take a look at your book, Exhibit 1, please?
Okay,
And there's 2 pages of Exhibit 1, 166 and 167, correct?
correct.
Okay, let's start with 166, or 1166. What is 1166?
1166 is the organizational chart, SID International.
Okay, and what is SID International?
SID International is the holding company.
Okay. And is SID International the company that owns Hanna?
Indirectly owns Hanna.
Okay. If I take a look at the chart, I see SID International USA, and then I see Hanna, and it says 87.9% next to Hanna and 100% next to SID International USA. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, so SID International owns 87.9%.
Is Hanna International Inc., Korean USA, the company you work for?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Hanna Instruments Inc. USA the company you work for?
correct.
Okay. And they're all owned by SID International?
Not all of them completely.
Okay. Some of them say 100%, and some of them say, for example, Hanna's, which you say says 49.9%. So that's what you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what involvement, if any, do you have with all these other Hanna entities?
I do not have any direct involvement of daily operations with these companies.
Okay. Why don't we start with SID International? What involvement, if any, do you have with SID International USA?
I do the accounting for SID International.
When you say you do the accounting, just in general, what does that consist of?
What I do is if we have to make a payment for SID International, I create the payment. If there's any transaction journal entries on chart of accounts, I would do the chart of accounts, journal entries. There's no employees, so there's no payroll. Just general accounting, whatever's needed for the year.
So SID International has no employees?
Correct.
And so I would take it they have no controller.
Correct.
So you're basically a controller for Hanna Instruments Inc. USA and SID International USA both, correct?
Correct.
That you get your paycheck from Hanna. right?
Yes.
Now, could you describe to me generally what Hanna Instruments Inc. does?
Sure. We're a distributor of electro-analytical measuring devices. We also have a small production facility there, and we have an R&D department.
Okay, if I take a look at Exhibit 23, which is the catalog, volume 37 of Hanna Instruments, on the bottom right there, it says, quote, "Today, Hanna manufactures over 3,500 products in production facilities located in the United States, Romania, Italy, and looks like Mariotta's, period." All right, and then it says under there, quote, "Today, Hanna manufactures over 3,500 products in production facilities located in USA, Romania, Italy, and Mauritius."
Mauritius.
Okay, great. Other than my pronunciation, I read that right?
That's correct.
Is your understanding that Hanna does manufacture over 3,500 products in these locations?
I really don't know. I'm not involved in the production process of those items.
Okay, can you at least say that Hanna manufactures thousands of products to your knowledge?
Yes, I would say thousands of products, sure.
And most of these products are some sort of testing equipment, right?
Yes,
And it covers quite a large gamut of different types of testing equipment, right?
correct.
All right. Now, with regards to the meter in this case, as I understand it, it was manufactured by Hanna SRL in Romania. Is that your understanding, or do you have any understanding?
I have no understanding of, I understand it's in Romania, but I don't know which company makes that product.
Okay, your understanding the manufacturing plant is in Romania, correct?
Correct.
All right, can we go back to Exhibit 1, page 1? Okay, and where's the Romanian one on this chart, sir, if you know?
It is not on this chart.
Okay.
1166, is that correct?
Okay, I see something called Hanna Services Romania, which is to the right, third line, third box over. Do you see that one?
Yes, Hanna Service Romania, yes,
Is that different than a manufacturing plant?
yes.
Okay, can we have the next chart, please? Okay, and I'm looking at page 2 of Exhibit 1, where it says Hanna Instruments Romania. You see that?
Yes,
Okay. And that's where you understand the meter equipment manufactured, correct?
no.
No. Okay. What involvement, if any, do you understand Hanna Instruments Romania SRL to have to the meter in this case?
I know Hanna Instruments purchases that instrument from Hanna Instruments SRL Romania. Well, let me clear that up. Hanna Instruments SRL News Falau, which is to the right, top line there to the right.
Okay, that one is NUSFALSU.
LAU. LAU.
And how do you pronounce that?
News Falau.
And what is that?
That is a town in Romania.
Okay. Okay, great. So is that where the production plant is?
Yes,
Okay. And the production plant is owned by Hanna Instruments SRL New FALSU?
News Falau.
News Falau.
Newsflow. Repeat that question again?
Who owns the production plant that's in New Squad?
Newsflow, it's Hand Instruments Holdings.
That's the one up on the
Right above the-
third box down on the chart?
Correct.
Okay, what is the relationship of the Hanna Instruments Holdings to the plant and or the meter in this case,
Is the owner
of the plant?
of the company.
Okay, so Hanna Instruments Holding owns Hanna Instruments New Spot Cell.
Newsflow, yes.
Okay, but the New Spot one is the one that owns the plant. Is that right?
No.
Who owns the plant?
I guess when you own, Hanna Instruments SRL operates the plant.
And you think, okay, Hanna Instruments New Facility operates the plant where the MW 500 meter in this case was made. Is that correct?
From hearsay, that's what I believe.
Okay. If you take a look at your book, page, Exhibit 20, page 6.
Okay.
Okay, if you take a look, starting with line 20, it says, Hanna Instruments, Inc., Rhode Island Corporation, distributes Hanna Ort meters distributed by Hanna Instruments SRL in the United States. Hanna Instruments SRL also distributes Milwaukee Ort meters to Hanna Instruments, Inc., who then distributes Milwaukee Ort meters to Milwaukee Instruments, Inc. Did I read that right?
You read it correctly, but
You think we're missing something here? We're missing Hanna?
yes,
Okay, so you think the correct way is Hanna Naspalau sells it to Hanna SRL, who then sells it to Hanna Instruments, who sells it to Milwaukee Instruments. Is that right?
no.
Okay. Why don't you tell me in your words how you think it works?
Sure. So Hanna Instruments, Rhode Island Corporation distributes Hanna ORP meters distributed by Hanna Instruments SRL in the United States. No, that actually, you know what? That is correct. I'm sorry.
Okay, the interrogatory, correct.
Right, sorry. I had to read it again.
All right. And when it says Hanna Instruments SRL there, that means Hanna Instruments SRL Romania? Yes?
No, Hanna Instruments SRL Newsflow,
Okay.
which is in Romania.
Okay, great. So, okay, just so I understand, Hanna Instruments, SRL, Newsflow makes the meter, and then they sell it to Hanna Instruments, Inc., the U.S. company, and then they sell it to Milwaukee Instruments, Inc. Is that right?
Hanna Instruments SRL sells the instrument to Hanna Instruments Inc. Not certain on who manufactures the instrument.
Okay. All right, in the next sentence, to make it even more confusing,
Sure.
it says Hanna Instruments SRL purchases material and gives these materials to dosing pump unit SRL Romania, which assembles the MW 500 order. See that statement?
Yes.
Okay. what is the relationship of, if any, of dosing unit SRL to Hanna?
There's no relationship with Hanna, which Hanna?
Any Hanna?
The relationship would be with Hanna Instruments Romania would be the relationship, with a small portion to Hanna Instruments Holdings.
Understanding, Hanna Instruments Romania and Hanna Holdings own dosing pump unit SRL?
Yes,
They own it lock, stock, and barrel, all 100%.
I'm not too certain on that, just not too certain on that, can't put a,
Okay. Can you tell me the reason that the corporate structure was set up like this? Because this is not the most streamlined corporate structure I've ever seen.
I was never involved in the corporate structure. That's,
With regards to Milwaukee Instruments, you're familiar with it, correct?
I'm familiar with the company, yes.
Okay. What type of interaction, if any, would you have with Milwaukee Instruments?
Well, Hanna Instruments Inc. sells instruments to Milwaukee Instruments.
Okay, so you collect meat from Milwaukee Instruments?
Correct.
Does Hanna share employees with Milwaukee?
That's something you have to talk to Cal Savaggio about.
Okay, as I understand it, Mr. Savaggio is the president of Milwaukee Instruments. Is that your understanding?
No, he's not.
Okay, who is the president of Milwaukee Instruments?
Oh, I'm sorry, Milwaukee Instruments, yes, he is, yes.
Okay, all right. So it's your understanding, Mr. Savaggio is the president of Milwaukee Instruments, correct?
Correct.
And he's also employed at Hanna, right?
Yes,
Now, you understand that Milwaukee Instruments allegedly sold the MW500 orc meter that was involved in this case, correct?
from hearsay, yes.
Okay. And would I be correct that that particular item is not sold by Hanna under a Hanna label?
Correct.
Okay. But Hanna does sell other orc meters under its own label, correct?
I don't know all the items, so I can't answer that.
Okay, well, why don't we take a look at Exhibit 23 again? And, no, I wish I would have put page numbers on it. So it would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th page in that says Hanna right there. And next page, sorry. Yeah. See, right in 2004, it says that Hanna developed, quote, the world's first pH/warp combo tester, unquote.
Yes.
Okay. So it's your understanding that at least as of 2004, Hanna was selling some sort of warp meter, correct?
Yes, I mean, that's what that says, yes.
Okay, let's go to the next page. See where it represents Hanna's advanced pH warp meter?
Yes.
Okay, next page. We have another Hanna product, which is called an warp and pH warp tester.
Yes.
And the next page, well, skip the next page and go to the next page. And we have another Hanna warp meter called pH, MD warp and temperature meter. You see that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, skip the next page, please. I'll skip through the solution pages. We can go to the next instrument. We have yet another independent warp meter called a multi-parameter digital pH warp temperature probe. Right?
Yes.
So just in the more recent catalog, we have at least 5 different Hanna warp meters. Right?
Correct.
Okay. And so despite offering 5 Hanna warp meters, Hanna doesn't sell the item known as the MW500 under its label, right?
Correct.
And is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I'm not in sales or not a chemist, so, or I do not purchase warp meters. I wouldn't know why they wouldn't offer that.
Let's go to the next page. Underneath the heading of worldwide leader, it says, quote, with 60 offices in 47 countries, Hanna strives to be a worldwide leader in services and selection, unquote. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Does Hanna have 60 offices in 47 countries?
That I'm not too sure. We do have countries that have multiple offices in it, so, but I'm not too sure on the count.
And would you agree that Hanna strives to be a worldwide leader in services and selection?
I can't attest to that statement because I didn't write it, so I can't really say.
Now, if Milwaukee needs more warp meters, do you know whether or not they contact someone at Hanna to order them?
They send a purchase order in to
Okay.
replace their stock.
That's all.
Completes the deposition. All right. Here we now call Casey in by video. Play our deposition stop at 12. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Mr. Aiken, would you state your full name?
Apologize, you're all right?
No, when you guys are ready, so I can start recording.
Think we're good?
I'm ready to proceed, yes, please.
Okay, we're ready.
Thank you.
We call Casey Aiken by video. All right.
Mr. Aiken, will you state your full name, including your middle name, and spell it, please?
Casey Thomas Aiken, CASEY-THOMASAIKEN.
Now, prior to the deposition, well, I understand you were a former employee of Real Water, correct? Can you describe for me your educational background?
Yes, graduated high school in 1998. I did a year of online college with Ashford University.
Can you tell me what your employment background was from 98 to the time you worked for Real Water?
About a year and a half in the military. I was 17 when I graduated and went in the military.
Okay.
I was in
military, which branch?
Army.
Okay, so that was a year and a half you were in the military?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
Chapter 14, other than honorable. My father got sick. I went home and I made the mistake of being young and dumb and didn't go back.
So in other words, you took a leave of absence under chapter 14?
Well, no, I just left to go see my father, didn't go back. And then I got back to Fort Benning, and then they sent me to Kentucky for out processing, and because we weren't at war or anything, they said you were just young and didn't understand and didn't fit the military lifestyle. So they let me go at chapter 14 other than honorable.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get a dishonorable, it wasn't an honorable. They kind of explained it like as if I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. And your father was?
My father's ill, he's passed away
Definitely
now.
ill. He was definitely ill at the time?
Yeah, he's passed away since then.
So you, all right, so after leaving the Army, what did you do?
I built houses for about 6 months, and then I found sales. I was in Electrolux vacuum cleaners.
And then you went and started selling Electrolux vacuum cleaners?
Mm-hmm. I met a man, and he said, "You can speak well, would you like to go try sales?" And I said, "Well, better than building with my hands." So
Was this door to door?
yeah.
And then after that, what did you do?
I met a man selling a vacuum cleaner, and his brother-in-law sold timeshare
Okay.
at a resort in Culpeper, Virginia, Spotsylvania, Virginia. It was called Wilderness Presidential Resort.
How do you spell that?
Spotsylvania, Spotsylvania.
Okay. So you started selling timeshare?
Yes.
Okay, roughly when are we now?
That would have been 20 years old, turning 21.
And so I assume did you sell it until 9/11?
I sold it past 9/11. I sold timeshare for 15 years.
Oh, okay. In the same,
I'm retired from that.
with the same people, same job?
Same company.
What's the name of the company?
Great Eastern Resorts,
So that would have been 2001 to 2015.
15.
Okay. And where were you located at during that time?
Virginia.
So in 2015, where did you go?
I ended up going to Florida. My father got sick. Again. This time the cancer took him.
So that was 2015?
2016.
2016. And did you have a job at that time, another job?
I ended up becoming a marketer for timeshare in Florida because you had to receive a real estate license. So while I was doing real estate classes, I became a marketer for timeshare.
Same timeshare company or different one?
Different one.
And so that's 2016. How long did you keep doing that?
I was there till 2018, and then I came to Vegas.
Okay, and what motivated you to come to Vegas?
I was a marketer for timeshare. I did very well. I ended up becoming a director of marketing in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
And then,
For the Cocoa Beach Company?
no, it was a different, let me back up. I was in Cocoa Beach for about 2 years, and then I went to Daytona Beach because I got a job offer as a director of marketing. So I took the job offer in Daytona, and then from there I got a job offer from somebody here in Vegas to pay for my commute, pay for my housing, and pay me quite a bit of money to come out here and market timeshares.
Okay.
Pays a lot higher out here than it is over on the east.
And who was that?
Jockey Club?
So we're about 2019 now?
Yep.
Okay, does that take us to real water?
No, that takes us to the clubs.
Okay.
I actually was speaking with somebody that did OPC work as well. It was a woman, I forget her name, but she said the club, there's a lot of money in club promoting.
Okay.
If you can do this, you can do that. And I said, well, if there's more money in it, why not?
Right.
So I switched to club promoting, and I
Any
did that
particular
until
club?
real water.
Any particular club?
Strip clubs mainly.
Okay.
I would market them. I'd offer them a free limousine service to and from the club, and as long as they bought 2 drinks, they got free admission.
Mm-hmm.
So March
March 2020.
Yep.
2020.
2020. Right.
Okay. And then the next employment was real water.
Right. I was unemployed, so I claimed unemployment. And then when I got the job at Real Water, I mean, it only was 3-4 hours a day doing what I was doing, so it was part-time.
Okay. So how did you become aware that there was a position open at Real Water?
Online.
You saw an ad online?
Yeah.
Okay. And prior to that time, did you even know what Real Water was?
No.
Had you ever even seen it? Or?
Never heard of it, never drank it, never seen it.
Okay, so you responded to the online ad?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And did you get interviewed?
I I did. I actually applied for sales.
Okay.
That was the original position that I applied for. I went in for an interview. They didn't hire me right away. About a month later, I got a phone call back from Real Water asking me if I wanted to come back in for a second interview. Since it was a month later, I just figured they lost somebody and needed to hire somebody again, so I went back in. And they asked me if I would mind doing warehouse work. And at this point, I'm not a sit around kind of person.
Right.
I like working. I like earning my keep. So I don't like getting unemployment, didn't want to. So when they offered me the job at $10 an hour, even the pay difference from what I'm used to making, I said I'll take it just because it was something.
And approximately when was this?
That would have been in June
Of 2020?
2020. Sorry.
So your first job with them was a warehouse job?
Yes, warehouse. Basically, I took the cases of water, the 1 liters, 500 milliliters, and the gallons. Somebody would make the water and then put them in the boxes. Once it got in the box, it'd come to me. I would seal the box and place it on the pallet and load the pallets up and then wrap them. And then somebody else would take it from there and put it in storage until we sent them off to wherever they were going.
And you said you were interviewed twice?
Yes.
Was that in-person interviews?
Yes.
And
With Amy Jones.
But your interviews and you started the employment at the Desert Inn location?
Correct.
So you started as a warehouse person, and how long did you keep that position?
Until I helped them with the move, with moving the equipment and everything, loading it on the trucks and getting it out of the Desert Inn location.
Okay.
Whenever that was, like you said, August, I believe it was.
I think it was the end of August, but
Yeah,
I'm not aware.
I think it's the end of August,
Okay.
is when it was.
So sometime, you think at the end of August, they moved locations from Desert Inn to their current location in Henderson by the Ocean Spray plant. So before we get to that, but prior to the move, you were always a warehouse person?
Correct.
And you hadn't had any other job?
No.
All right, so, now you said you were in the warehouse. Were you also on the line prior to the move?
Yes, that was I was the last guy. I would be the one that put the glue on the box to seal it on the case, and then I would put the case on the pallet,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would wrap it with the wrapping machine, and then a forklift would come and take it away.
And was there a point in the process where concentrate or the secret sauce was added to it?
Yes,
And what was that referred to as?
concentrate.
Concentrate, all right. So we start out with water from you don't know where. Yes?
Yeah.
And then it's filtered?
Yes.
And then does it go to the ionization machine or does it get the secret sauce first?
I don't know.
Okay, but at some point we have the ionization machine step and the secret sauce step. Right?
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens?
Okay.
Then it goes into the bottles?
Yeah. Yes, it goes basically from the big tank. It would go to 2 smaller tanks that were about 500 gallons, I would guess, each. And those 2 tanks, that's where the concentrate and potassium would be added to the tanks.
So let's go back to the concentrate phase of this. So someone has to add concentrate into the 2 500-gallon tanks.
Correct.
And whose job is that?
The main lead guy, most of the time, the one that was putting the bottles in the boxes, or he would just say, hey, go put the concentrate in. It was always measured on a stand. It was measured to the amount that needed to be in each thing each time. So basically, he'd say, put that bottle in there, put that bottle in there. So sometimes it was me. Sometimes he'd point at me and say, can you put the concentrate in? Sure. So I'd walk over and I would grab the bottle that was already pre-measured to the correct amount, and I would pour that into the 500-gallon bottle.
Okay, you would pour a bottle that had concentrate in it.
Right, it was just the concentrate itself in 2.5 or 5 gallon. I don't know the measurement on how much went in those, because that was a whole different operation from what I did at the 5-gallon plant.
Okay, all right. And we're still at the DI plant, right?
Yes.
So we'll go to the Henderson plant. I'll ask you what, if anything, changed.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to the concentrate. So at some point, someone made a 2.5 to 5 gallon concentrate.
Container. Yeah. They had special containers that the concentrate went
Would
in.
that be liquid concentrate?
Yes.
Okay, liquid
and the potassium was pellets.
And that was added separately from the concentrate.
Right, it was added at the same time, but separately.
Okay. Now, back to the job positions. Was there someone that was called a lead technician?
I don't know what his position was. I just know he
Who was
was,
the one that was responsible for dumping the concentrate, primarily responsible for dumping the concentrate into the two pipes?
any of us.
Anybody could do it?
Yeah, if the lead guy was putting the bottles in and he was real busy and had a bunch of bottles lined up, he would say, Casey, can you go put the concentrate in? So I would walk over and I would put the concentrate in
Okay.
and the potassium because it was pre-measured. So it was just easy, boom, boom, done.
Okay. And who made the gallons that had the concentrate?
I don't know.
So
They was there.
where did you get them from?
There was a
Was there
room
a
that had,
concentrate room?
yeah, there was a room that had, it was
Pre-mixed concentrate?
premixed concentrate that was in the 5-gallon or whatever containers.
Okay. Did you ever see the concentrate made?
No.
Did you ever make it yourself?
No.
Do you know who made it?
No.
And do you know what's in the concentrate?
Not a clue.
Okay. All right, now, in this process, was there any measurements done of either the water, the concentrate, or the finished product to determine whether or not it had certain, positive or negative levels to it?
I don't know. At that location, I had nothing to do with any of that, so I wouldn't know.
Okay. And at the other location, did you subsequently have something to do with it?
At the Henderson location? Yes, that was, my job was to do the water, so I had to know that.
Okay, so let's stick with DI for a minute. Whose job was it to do the water and DI?
I don't know. Not mine.
Okay. All right. Now, when you said it was your job to do the water at the Henderson, what does that mean?
My job was to make the water, add the concentrate and the potassium to the, I had 2 different sized jugs that I filled up. It was 500 and 900 gallons. My job was to add the concentrate and add the potassium as per what they told me to put in it. So that's what I did. And my job was to fill the 5-gallon jugs. My job was to test the water to make sure it was positively or negatively ionized properly, pH, and there was one other, TDS, ORP, and pH. Those are the 3, I forget the actual words, I just know the 3 letters we use. And I would write down my measurements, every tank that I made, I had to measure it.
You said ORH, could that have been
No.
ORP?
I just said ORP,
TDS,
TDS, ORP, and pH.
pH, okay. All right. So, but this was not your job back at DI?
No.
But you were involved in the move of equipment to the Henderson plant?
No,
So you weren't involved in that either?
no, I was involved in loading the trucks from DI, that's it.
You just loaded the trucks, did you unload them at the Henderson plant? Okay.
No, I thought my job was done when I said no to Mason.
So when you went to Henderson, did you get a different job than your previous job?
Yes.
In the warehouse? Okay.
Yeah, I got a phone call a couple days prior to that,
Prior to September 1st?
just prior to September 1st. I got a phone call from Blaine asking if I wanted to continue employment with them. I said, why not? You know, I was hoping to keep my job, but I don't want to leave from Vegas. He said, well, we have a spot that's open here in Henderson. If you want to take that location, you can be the, I guess, lead water technician. Is that the word you use, I guess?
Yeah.
I could be the lead technician at the warehouse here, and it was a pay raise as well.
Okay. And this was a conversation with Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Like one conversation or?
Yeah, one conversation.
That was it?
Yep. I said, sure, why not?
Then you became the lead water technician?
Right.
And what training did they provide you before you were the lead water technician?
He explained to me how the process worked as far as the water goes, like, once it gets into the tank.
Mr. Jones explained it?
Yes, Blaine, I'm sorry. He explained to me the process of putting the concentrate.
Was this during the phone call or was this at another time?
This is at the plant.
So you accepted the position and then he gave you some sort of hands-on training?
Yes.
Okay.
He told me I would be making more money, and he explained my pay, and then he went over the process of what I was to do at the 5-gallon plant.
Okay. And can you give me a time frame for this occurring?
And like 2 days before I started. like the 28th, 29th of August
Okay. 2 days before you started at the Henderson.
at the Henderson plant. I apologize, yes.
So you met with him at some point and he gave you this hands-on training?
Yes.
And how long did that last?
A couple hours. We went over the meters, how to use them, how to measure the water and make sure that they're within the parameters of, what we sell.
Mm-hmm.
So what they tell people they're selling and what they sell has got to be the same thing. So that's what they make sure that is with those meters.
Okay, and by meters, are we talking about an ORP meter now?
ORP meter, a TDS meter, and then of course the pH, which is color. So that's not exact science, obviously, but.
Okay. Now, prior to Mr. Jones training you about how to use an ORP meter, had you used an ORP meter before in any capacity?
No.
And had you even seen it being used?
No, I didn't know what it was at all until he explained it to me and showed me.
Okay. And as we sit here today, do you know what ORP stands for, ORP?
ORP? No. He told me, but I don't remember.
Okay. Can you tell me as best as you can recall, and I understand it was 8 months ago, but can you tell me as best as you can recall what he said to you?
I don't know. I really don't remember. I mean, I remember that he told me how to use it, what the parameters were, where the numbers needed to be when I tested it.
Okay.
He told me how much concentrate to put in it. He told me how much potassium to put in it.
Potassium in it, you mean the water?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that went off of what they did in DI with the 5 gallon. Because I don't work in the 5 gallon in DI, so I'm assuming that it just, when they moved everything from there to here, they just did the same thing.
Okay. And sorry, I want to make sure I'm right. So the 5 gallon went to Henderson and the smaller bottles went to Mesa.
Yes.
And the smaller bottles would be the retail bottles sold to
Costco, yeah.
So after you guys moved to Henderson, there were no more smaller bottles made there?
Nope.
Now, let's go back to the training session with Mr. Jones. There was just one training session?
Yes.
And was there ever retraining or spot checking or anything after that one session?
In November, he did meet with me because of I guess I don't know much about the complaints and all that stuff, all this stuff that happened with the FDA. I don't know anything about the
We'll get
complaints.
to that. Let's just call it the complaint period, okay?
The complaint period, there we go.
Okay,
I don't know anything about that.
Sometime in November, you became aware that there were complaints.
Correct.
And more specifically, people from home delivery were complaining and canceling. Did you become aware of that?
From what I understand.
And so after these complaints started coming in, Mr. Jones sat down and had a discussion with you about.
He just asked me what I was doing, if I was doing anything different from the normal process, and I wasn't. I was doing exactly what they told me to do, so
Okay.
it was
All right.
just basically a recap of making sure I was doing everything properly.
Okay, but let's answer my question, then we'll jump to that. So between the time period, you said about August 28th until November when the complaints coming in, he didn't give you any additional training with regards to how to use the meters or make the water or anything? And no one else did? There's no reason to? Okay. He didn't give you any training and no one else did?
Correct.
So, okay. All right. Now focusing back on the training session in August 28th, did you actually make a law at that time or did he just?
He showed me how, and he ran me through it, and he actually did it with me, yes.
Was the plant in operation at that time?
I don't think they were selling it. I think we were just making it to show me how to do it.
Okay.
As far as I know. I mean, I don't know what they did with the water. We made a few just to show me exactly what to do, the process.
Did you make a full load? Or?
No, we just made probably 20 bottles.
But at the Henderson plant, you had to add the concentrate to a 500 gallon
And a
container
900 gallon.
and a 900 gallon.
Yes.
And so that was a little bit different from the DI where you had two 500s, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you, I assume the amount of concentrate going into the 500 gallon would be different than the 900 gallon?
Yes.
Okay. And how was that differentiated?
When the readings came out, if the reading was a little low, you had a little more. If the reading was a little high, you had a little less, because it's not an exact science. You're dealing with exponential numbers and stuff, is the way you explained it. So it's
And when readings, you're talking about the ORP meter.
the ORP, the TDS, the pH usually came out right.
So basically, you took the concentrate that, and I don't want to time, but same thing as DI. You didn't make the concentrate in Henderson?
No.
Someone else made it? Yes?
Yes,
And you got it, it was pre-made?
yes,
And do you know who made the stuff in Henderson?
no,
And you know whether specifically Mr. Blaine Jones made it?
no.
Okay. You don't know one way or the other?
Yeah, I would know.
Was there a room where you went to get the concentrate?
No, I had it in 5 gallons already.
Okay.
I had a big pile, like 2 pallets down on the floor with stacked 3 high. It was 9 across, 4 forward. It was a lot of 5 gallon of the concentrate.
In a
It was
liquid
already
state?
in liquid state that was already made in the warehouse I was in, so I would just take that and that's what I had a separate 2.5 gallon jug that I would use to make exact measurement on a 5 gallon or 7.5 gallon, whatever I needed.
For concentrate?
Correct.
So in any event, as I understand the basic process here, you take the water that's been purified, that's in the 500 gallon or the 900 gallon tank,
Mm-hmm.
then you add the concentrate in,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Yes?
Yes.
And then you do the measurement with the artmeter to see whether you're above and below whatever the target is.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember off the top of your head what the target was?
Let me think. Negative
Negative 200?
negative 200 to negative 300 was original, what the reading is from the 1 liter over in DI. In November, it went down to negative 150 to negative 225 because it's going straight from production into home. So the 5 gallon was a little lower reading that we needed than the 1 liters.
Okay.
The 1 liters, when I made them, the reading was supposed to be 200 to 300 is what I saw in the paper that I have. The paper that I had to fill out with the readings on them.
Okay.
It had a preset up at the top in black writing. It said negative 2 to 300.
Okay.
My reading in the 5 gallon had to be negative 150 to negative 225 because it's going directly from us to home. Does that make sense?
Yeah, now let's back up a little bit. I thought you didn't make any 1 liter.
I didn't. The paper that I was using
Oh,
to fill my things out
Okay, let's back.
must have been from that because at the top it says negative 2 to 300. So someone could misconstrue that for being the reading you're supposed to be in. That's all.
There was some sort of log, or the record book or something.
Correct. I kept record of every tank I made.
Okay, great. What was that document called?
I don't know. A reading paper?
Logbook or something?
Yeah, logbook, I guess.
Okay, and so what you're saying is that when you started the job after August 28th, you gave a logbook and you were instructed to put readings in.
I was given a piece of paper. I made copies of it. It had the ORP. It had TDS. It had pH. It had name of person that's making the water. All at the top. And then it had a little graph of this is where you put the numbers in.
And by a little piece of paper, we're talking about...
A regular sized piece of paper, right?
Okay.
And I made a bunch of copies of that, so I had a pile of them.
It was a pre-printed form.
Correct.
Okay, and can you tell me, I think you told me a little bit, but let's start over.
Mhm.
What was on the pre-printed form in terms of information?
Name of person that's making the water, it's a TDS, ORP, pH, any odd taste or coloration, and any smell. I think that's the 5 things that was on it. Or bacteria, there was a bacteria reading or something, but we didn't use that. I guess it wasn't by law to use that, so we didn't do that at all. It was just marked off, it's blacked out.
Was there also a date when you made the batch?
Yes,
And were the batches numbered?
I always put the date I just put the date next to my name.
Okay. And were the batches numbered too?
Numbered? No. Okay.
This is a good place to stop.
All right. All right, Mr. Marshall, what do you think?
115 your hour?
Okay, that's what we'll do. Ladies and gentlemen, you're admonished not to converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on the subject of trial or rewatch or listen to the report of on the trial, any persons connected to this case by any medium of information, including publication, newspaper, television, radio. Remember the social media prohibition. And last but not least, do not form or express any opinion on any subject connected to the charge of the cost of crime submitted to you. Mr. Marshall.
All rise to the march of the jury. Jury is clear. Please be seated.
All right, everyone go home.
Department 16 is now in session. I'll look into the presiding. Please be seated.
All right, this will record our appearances for the record.
Your Honor, Will Kemp, Teddy Parker, and I don't know where Mr. Pepperman went. And Aaron Pepperman for plaintiff.
You want to get her?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Joel Odou and Matthew Kaufman of Apple Grill Watering, Energy Lifestyle.com, and Grill Water.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Scott Rasmussen, Ryan Flanagan on behalf of Hand Instruments.
Oh, Rob's not here.
I got it. They were here a minute ago.
I got it. He's on the phone.
Anyway, we have something outside presence?
Yeah, can we approach them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we can talk later. We're ready to bring the jury in.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
All rise to the jury. Please be seated.
Do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch.
Good afternoon.
It's my understanding we're going to continue.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Kemp. This is a continuation of the prior testimony by deposition.
Case 8.
Case 8.
Was there also a date when you made the batch?
Yes,
And were the batches numbered?
I always put the date just on, I just put the date next to my name.
And were the batches numbered too?
Numbered? No.
Okay, in a typical day, how many batches did you make?
Per tank?
And by per tank, you're talking about the 2 tanks, the 500 and the 900?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. In a typical day, how much did you make altogether? Both tanks?
Some days I would do just one 900 tank. Some days I would just do one 500 tank. Some days I'd use both twice.
Okay.
Just varied on what we needed the following day.
So it was either one tank, the other tank, or both tanks?
Correct.
So let's just make sure I got this right. So you take the concentrate and you put it in either the 500 gallon or the 900 gallon?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
And then do you stir it up or how?
Yeah, we mix it. We had a pump that was going to there was one pump going to the 900 tank and there was one pump going to the 500 gallon tank. I would have to run the pump. So basically the water's going from the bottom of the tank with the ingredients in it to the top of the tank and just mixing in itself.
So you put the concentrate in before you put the water in?
Yes. I put the ingredients in, concentrate in potassium. After I put that in, I would fill the tank. Once the tank was full, I would turn that valve off and then I would turn the valve on to repeat the water back to itself for 45 minutes on the 500 gallon and about an hour and 50 to an hour and a half on the other one. And then I would take my reading.
That's how long they mixed.
Yes.
So, okay, let's start with the immediate reading then. So we'd use an ord meter, yes?
Yes.
And we have an ord meter here. Is this, I don't know if I want to mark it as an exhibit, but, well, I'll tell you, I have a picture, okay? Why don't we start? Okay, that's the exhibit 1. Council, thank you. 1, 2.
Is this an extra? presentation, Judge?
Yeah, give me that back for sure. Thank you. Okay. All right. So is this the orb meter that you used?
I don't know if it's the exact one, but yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, bad question. No, you're right, Mr. Hagan. Does this appear to be similar to the one you used?
Yes.
And it's the same color?
Yeah.
And see how there's a star on it there?
Yeah, and there wasn't a star on the one I had.
And do you remember that it had Milwaukee on the top of the one you used?
I don't remember what was on it. I just know it was gray box. I don't remember if there was a name.
Okay, all right. And this was all you had? You had the meter and the oral instruction from Mr. Jones. He didn't give you a manual or anything on this orb meter?
No, I had another meter as well. There was this one to read that, and then I had another meter that was about yay long.
You were just given the orb meter, you weren't given a user's manual, you weren't given an instruction book, you weren't given anything else, you were just given the orb meter?
Yeah.
Okay. And as we sit here today, do you recall whether you ever looked at an instruction manual any time for an orb meter?
I never did.
Or a user manual, I mean?
No, Blaine explained to me how to use it, hands-on in person, so it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a simple process.
Good. And so you would stick the probe in. The probe is top of the blue, right?
No, you would
You
put the
take
water in the tube, put the probe in the tube, seal it. Once it's sealed, then you get your reading.
Okay, got it. And that would be the blue part. You put the water in the blue part.
Wait, hold on. Let me back up because, all right, I'm sorry. That was not what we did. This is the other one. This one, when you take this out, you take this wand out of it, and you're right, you would put it in the
Stick in the water.
In the cup that I had. I'm sorry.
Right.
The cup that I had. And then the reading would change. It would go to what it was supposed to be. It would go down, drop, 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 drop until it got to a point where it would stay steady.
Like negative 200.
Right, like negative 174. And once it got there and it stayed at 174 for a few minutes,
right,
then that would be the reading. I would write that down.
All right, great. Then you put the tap on.
Then I would put that back in there, and that would go back to whatever this water inside here was. I'm sorry.
All right, so if the reading was 500 or 600, you'd add more water. Right?
I never had to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that would be the case.
It wasn't perfect every time, right?
It was pretty close. I mean, as long as you added the correct amount of concentrate, because we had it, I mean, Blaine had it to a pretty good science to where when you put, 5 gallons of concentrate into the mix and you put 3 spoonfuls of the potassium, which equaled about 40 grams. I mean, I had a measure that would measure the potassium in. As long as I did the measurements that I had, it would fall pretty close to where it needed to be most times. I mean, I really never had a problem where I had to add this or add that. It was always pretty right on.
In the 2 months you did it, you were never outside the range?
Not really, no. Okay. Well, let me think. It was low on not this meter, my potassium reader.
Okay.
That one came low sometimes.
But with regards to the orb meter,
I never had a problem with that.
You never remember being above or below the range? No, okay. All right, and you can't remember exactly what you got because you'd have to look at the pieces of paper.
Yes, average was 170, 175 is what I averagely got. Now in the beginning when I first started in September, it was 220, something like that. They were a little higher readings because when I first started, they had us adding more concentrate because they were going off of, I guess, what they did before at the DI. But with this going to Henderson, the readings with the potassium were a little lower.
Okay, let's stick with the orb meter.
I'm sorry. The readings on this always came out right, but we added a little less concentrate to it when we got to Henderson.
And what was your understanding of the useful life of these orb meters? Whether they last 5, 10, 20? Did you have any understanding one way or the other?
No.
So no one ever told you this thing's good for a year, 5 years, 10 years?
No.
So as we sit here today, you don't know what the useful life is? No. Okay. And with regards to maintenance, do you know what the recommended, if any, cleaning time period is, whether it's every 6 months, every year?
No, I don't.
So for example, you've never heard anyone say you should clean the probe every 30, 60, 90 days? No? Okay. And with regards to the probe, do you know whether or not the probe is made out of platinum?
I have no clue.
Okay. And has anyone ever indicated to you that platinum potentially needs to be cleaned frequently when you're doing negative orb readings because of an oxidization concern?
No.
No one's ever said that, okay? Great. And with regards to orb meters in general, has anyone ever indicated to you in any way, shape, or form that orb meters are not a reliable way to measure negative readings?
No.
Okay. Or anyone ever indicated to you that they're superior for positive readings as opposed to negative?
No.
So assuming these are all facts, you've never, no one's ever indicated that?
No.
Okay. And with regards to the meter, one more time, you never saw the inside in terms of the user manual or any other materials that may be in the user manual?
No.
And more specifically, in the user manual, there's a card like I'm holding up. You've never seen anything like that?
No.
Okay. And so you're familiar with the concept of instruction manuals?
Yeah.
User's guides or user
Yes.
manuals? Okay. And have you looked at the user manual for the computer or your cell phone or anything?
No.
You have looked at user manuals for other types of products, right?
If I'm building a cabinet set or something at my home, something like that, I'd look at the instructions to build it.
Or a new TV or a piece of stereo equipment?
No. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once you turn it on, you can follow the prompts.
And you read these I mean, you don't ignore these. If you see a piece of equipment that's got on it.
I usually don't look at them. I mean, it's common sense things that are usually on there. Don't put your hand in the saw.
But you don't ignore the information that's provided.
No, of course not.
Okay. And if something says danger or warning, you take a look at that, right?
Yeah.
And you think it's generally a good idea for manufacturers? Well, strike that out. I want to say. Okay. But in the past, you've looked at equipment that's had stickers and read it and got whatever message.
I've seen them, yes.
Is there any particular product you can think of that's procedure today that you've seen a sticker on?
No.
Like you mentioned, you had some tools, drills. Do you
Yes.
know whether or not your drills have stickers on them?
I don't pay attention.
Was there anyone in charge of calibration at the plant?
Not that I have no clue.
Okay. And the same would be true for the orb meter. Do you know whether or not this was calibrated or who was in charge of that?
Not a clue.
Okay. So you don't know one way or the other whether it was ever calibrated?
Right, I don't know.
And by orb meter, I'm talking about the one that you used in September and October. As we sit here today, you don't know whether that was calibrated.
I don't know.
You didn't calibrate it?
No.
You don't even know if it can be calibrated?
Right.
Or whether it's manual or self-calibrated?
Yeah, I have no clue.
What was your understanding of why the concentrator was put in?
To give it the negative ionization.
And that's why you measured the negative level after the mixing of the concentrate?
Correct.
And did you have a person that formerly was a delivery person that later wasn't a delivery person named Stephen Bonner?
I didn't know him if we did.
UFC fighter?
Oh, is he that big guy?
Yeah, big guy?
Yeah, I remember him. He helped us with the move. We were moving stuff out of the desert inn thing.
Do you recall having a conversation with Mr. Bonner where you indicated to him that you'd put too much concentrate in, possibly, into a batch?
No, not that I put too much concentrate, that we added some more concentrate to it.
Okay, the same, that you put more concentrate than normal. I'm not saying
That
it's
we
too
added
much.
that we added more concentrate than, yes.
Okay, so you do remember telling him that you added more concentrate on at least one occasion?
Yes.
Okay. And this could have been in around November 2020?
Could have been.
Okay. And so if the conversation was November 2020, it would have had to be a batch that was made in September or October 2020, because those are the only much made batches.
Right.
Okay. So it's possible there was one batch where you added more concentrate?
No, I mean, what it was the reading came back a little lower.
Lower than
the parameters that are set. So I called Blaine and I let him know. I said the readings were a little low. What should I do? He notified me to add a little bit more concentrate, so that's what I did.
Okay, let's try to button this up a little bit.
Sure.
So when you said lower than parameters, you were saying it
Below the 200.
Great. And lower than 200 would be?
Like 130.
130.
Like negative 130.
So it came, and was that what it was, or you think approximately?
Approximately, yeah.
Okay. So you had a lower than negative 130 rating, and the objective was 200 to
300.
200 to 300. And so you called up Blaine Jones.
Yes.
On the telephone.
Yes.
So you had his cell phone number.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember approximately when this was?
No,
like September or October? Can you give me that much?
I really don't.
Okay. And you were making a batch of water.
Correct.
And do you remember whether you was in the 900 gallon tank or the 500 gallon tank?
I would have been using both.
Okay. Fair. Okay. So you told him the reading was lower than the parameters, negative 130, and you wanted 200, and asked him what to do, and he said put more concentrate.
Add some more concentrate to it.
Okay. And did he tell you how much more concentrate to put in?
He told me,
Let's start with what he
exactly.
said.
I'm trying to remember what he said. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly what he said. I don't know what he said. I think he said add some more concentrate. Sorry. I added 2.5 gallons. And that gave me a proper reading. So I didn't add any more or any less because that's what was giving me a proper reading.
Okay. So you called, well, let's back up. So we were making a batch sometime in September, October, yes?
Yes.
And when you measured the batch, before you measured it, you had put in the 5 gallon concentrate.
Correct.
And so you measured it, and for some reason you measured 130 that day instead of...
It was lower than it should have been.
And when you measured it, you used the orb meter that we have here as Exhibit 1.
Yes.
All right. So you called up Blaine and told him you had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
And was Blaine curt with you that day?
Who?
Curt, abrupt, short with you?
No.
Okay.
No, he answered and he said, what's up?
Okay. And so he told you to add more concentrate.
Correct.
But he didn't tell you how much.
No, he didn't tell me how much.
So you could have added 50 gallons for all he knew.
Right, yeah, he said just make sure it ends up in the parameters we're supposed to be in.
So you added another 2.5 gallons.
Yeah, I figured that would be the least amount to make it change to what I needed it to change to.
And then you measured it again.
Then I measured it again after mixing it.
Did you have any problems with the orb meter at that time?
Not that I knew of.
Okay. And did you tell Mr. Bonner that the orb meter was not giving you an accurate reading?
No.
Okay. You tell Mr. Jones that the orb meter was either not working or not giving you an accurate reading?
No.
Okay. But you've already told me you don't have a clear recollection of the conversation with Mr. Bonner.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I wouldn't have, there was no reason for me to think that the ORP meter was ever not working because I've never felt that way or thought that myself anyway, so.
But you don't know if it was working because you didn't calibrate it.
That wouldn't have been on, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. And you don't know how many times it had been used before being cleaned.
Correct.
In fact, you don't even know if it was ever cleaned for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Correct.
So as we sit here today, you can't tell me one way or the other whether the orb meter was actually working properly that day.
I really couldn't.
Okay. So all you can tell me is that you put the 5 gallons of concentrate in, then you added another 2.5 gallons.
Yes.
And then you tested with the orb meter and you think it had a better reading?
It had a normal, it came within the parameters at that point.
Okay, let me ask you a little more specifically. Was this the only time you had a lower than normal orb reading?
Yes.
And that would be true during the entire time period you're doing this in 2020?
Yes.
I assume there's no log of this. There's no notes of your conversation with Mr. Jones or...
No.
You do understand that if you potentially add more concentrate than you usually use, that there could potentially be a problem with the water.
I wouldn't think so.
You would think so?
No, I wouldn't.
You
Because
wouldn't
if we're putting something into somebody's water that they're drinking, I wouldn't think it'd be harmful. I mean, I would think you could just drink that by itself and it would be okay. That's what I would think.
Okay, but you don't know what's in the concentrate.
Right.
You just think it's.
I would think. Okay. If I'm putting it into somebody that's ingesting it, I would think that it's safe no matter what. That's my thought.
Okay, let's go back to the conversation with Mr. Jones. Do you recall one way or the other whether you told him you were having a problem with the ORP meter in terms of whether it worked right?
Yeah, and I don't ever recall a problem that I had with the ORP meter, so I wouldn't have said it to anybody because I never had a problem with it.
So as we sit here today, you can't confirm 100% that you used Exhibit 9. You can just confirm that you used a Milwaukee ORP meter that looks like that.
Yes.
Okay, Exhibit 10 is a picture of a product that was formerly made by Milwaukee Instruments, which is indicated as reducing solution or oxidation solution. Do you see that?
I do.
Is this the first time you've ever seen anything of this sort?
Yes.
Okay. And so, to the best of your knowledge, you never saw this at either the DI or the Henderson one?
No.
And you never used this to clean the meter?
No.
Because you never cleaned the meter?
Correct.
Okay. And you never saw anyone clean the meter?
No.
Either with this stuff that's picked on Exhibit 10 or something like that?
No.
Okay. And prior to today, did you even know that Milwaukee at one point made a cleaning solution for the meter?
I'll back you up for a second. This thingy,
Mm-hmm.
that had been in it. This thingy here, I'm sorry, the tube here that we put the thing in
probe.
and sealed it, the probe,
Mm-hmm.
that had vinegar in it. That's what was kept in that to keep it sealed.
Well, you kept it in vinegar between
Usage.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
You
you're directing my
mentioned vinegar,
attention.
that's what I forgot about that, but yeah, that's the only thing we did.
So you're directing my attention to Exhibit 9.
Correct.
Okay. And what you indicated to me is that there was usually vinegar put into the bottom of
Vinegar in the
this.
bottom of this, yep, and then.
So after you use the probe, you put vinegar in.
Yes, there was vinegar in the bottom of it,
And you just leave it in there until the next time you use the probe.
yes.
In other words, you wouldn't just leave it there for 24 or 48 hours.
No, never said that wrong.
Okay? Okay. All you know is that you stored it in vinegar.
Correct.
Okay. And did anyone ever indicate to you the reason for that?
I don't remember what Blaine said.
That's what Blaine said.
I don't remember what Blaine said, yeah, I'm sorry.
But that's what he told you to do.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, directing your attention to Exhibit 11 and Exhibit 12. It's the same meter in both pictures?
Yep.
And so was this the area where you added the concentrator, or is this just some sink or something?
This is the sink next to the tanks. I didn't add anything here. This is the sink. Basically, there's a table on the other side of the warehouse that I kept everything.
Right, we got to do that.
What I did was I take and I would do the measurement right over here where these are. Where these ones, I'm sorry. Where these are over here.
So you use the
I would do my
measurement.
measurement there in the Dixie cups.
So you're showing me Exhibit 12, and there's Dixie
Yes.
cups.
That's where it looks like somebody else did some readings,
Okay.
because that's the cups we use for doing the readings.
So you would take the Dixie cup that's depicted in Exhibit 12, and you dip it into either the 500 or the 900 gallon tank.
No, I would dip it in. I had a spigot that I would turn and it would
Oh, you pull it
pour
out
in.
from the top.
Yes.
Okay. And then you would do the ORP measurement and the other two measurements on that.
Yes, and if you look next to that little meter, that's the other one.
You said that you didn't measure the ORP meter in the location where the Dixie cups are. You put the Dixie cup on the floor? What would you say?
I said where they did the measurements, it looks like about where I would do my measurements. So what I would do is I would fill it up with the water in it from the tank.
Mm-hmm.
I would set it on the sink right where they have those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I would take my measurements. But all the meters and stuff were kept on a table on the other side of the warehouse. So
Right.
when I was getting ready to do my readings, I would grab my stuff, go to the sink, because it was right there. I always made sure it was cleaned, the area I was working in, and I would do my measurements there.
Okay, and with regards to this meter that's depicted here, is there anything about this picture that indicates to you that this meter was the one you used as opposed to the other meter that I showed you?
I mean, that's where I left everything the last day that I was there, because I can tell you that because all the blue stuff here and the other stuff is for PVC.
So these are the things you got from Amazon?
No, these were just, I was getting ready to use these to change out a pump that we had that was going bad.
Okay. Prior to today, you've never seen these two boxes of meters?
No.
So the two boxes weren't there at the time you were with it?
No.
So for some reason or other, someone ordered new meters after you left.
Maybe, I don't know, if they had them in storage and they just brought them out, or maybe they were using them to test water like they were here.
Okay.
I don't know.
But prior to today, you never saw these boxes.
No.
And more specifically, if there's user manuals in there, you've never seen those either. If there's an index card, like I showed you before, you've never seen that before.
No.
Okay. As we sit here today, you don't have any idea why they would order new meters.
No, even if they did order new meters, I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's skip that one. Okay. Mark that. What is that, number 14? Is that 14? Mr. Aiken, earlier I held up a card that I took out of one of the boxes. It looked like this. You said you've never seen it before.
Correct.
Now I'm just showing you an exhibit that actually has the card copied on it to confirm that you've never seen this before.
Okay.
You've never seen this before, right?
No.
No? Let's make sure we get a clear record. I am correct that you've never seen this before, right?
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, 19 is a picture of an air conditioning unit that has the owner's manual for the air conditioning units kind of not taped on, it's stuck near it, right?
Yeah, stuck behind it.
Yeah. So real water, on occasion they kept their owner's manuals?
I've never seen it.
You never saw this before?
Yeah, and I know I've pushed the AC button down a couple times when it was hot.
But you never noticed there was an owner's
I
manual?
never saw that.
So let me get a little specific about some of the information about the orb meter. You don't know one way or the other whether or not, I think we've gone over this, I'm going to go over to make sure. You don't know one way or the other whether or not the probe on the orb meter is platinum, right?
Yes.
And you don't know one way or another whether that has to be oxidized to read the negative orb state, right?
Correct.
And, okay. But you were using your meter to read a negative state, right?
Yes. It was stored in distilled vinegar.
Excuse me?
It was stored in the distilled vinegar.
Okay, I thought you said you put the vinegar in the cap. And just left it.
What that was stored in. What, I guess we go back to exhibit 11, I guess.
Hang on, let me get a look at
This plastic, that's where the,
inside the plastic.
inside that plastic, you put distilled vinegar, and that's what you stored it.
Okay. If someone had told you, if Wayne had told you, hey, you gotta clean this meter, either vinegar or this solution every 30 days, you would have done it, right?
Absolutely.
And if you'd seen a sticker on the meter saying that had to be done, you would have at least discussed it with Wayne?
Absolutely.
Now, with regards to calibration, I think we just addressed it briefly, but you don't know one way or the other whether the meter comes calibrated or you got to manually calibrate.
I don't know.
And so you never had anything to do with calibration at any time?
No.
Okay. And you never observed or heard of anyone calibrate the meter, right?
No.
And if the meter needed to be calibrated every 30 days, this is the first you're hearing of that, right?
Well, in November, Blaine showed me how to calibrate it.
Okay.
Before then, I'd never heard anything or done anything with calibration. I just wanted to clarify that because I don't want to lie. I want to make sure everything's 100% up front.
Okay.
In November, I don't know when it was, in the beginning of November, mid-November, Blaine showed me how to calibrate it.
Did you actually use a meter? He showed you, you used a meter, he showed you the process on the meter?
Yeah, he actually showed me how to do it. And,
Okay.
like on the table.
Okay, but prior to that time, you didn't know how to do it?
No.
Okay. And after that time, did you do it yourself?
Didn't have to.
Never went out of
And
calibration.
I never did, yeah, I never had to do it again. It was,
Now, when he showed you how to calibrate the meter in November, was the meter out of calibration? Or he just?
no, it was just to show me how to do it.
Okay. And why do you think, or do you know, why was he focused on calibration in November as opposed to in August when he trained you how to do your job?
I don't know.
Did he ever suggest or imply that the meter had been out of calibration at some point?
No.
All right, and we've already talked about the useful life of orb meters, and you've told me that you don't know whether they last for a year, 5 years, 10 years, right?
Right.
Okay. If you'd have seen a sticker saying on the orb meter saying replace after a year, you would have brought that to Elaine's attention.
Yeah.
Did you ever drink real water?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you acquire your real water?
We were allowed to take home 1 free case per week.
Okay, and did you do that?
At Desert Inn, yes.
And a free case per week would be a case of 5 gallons?
1 liters. 1 liters. The 1 liter bottles.
Okay. Okay, and so what about after you moved? Did you?
After we moved to Henderson, I do have a cooler at home, and I did take a 5 gallon home and put it in my home.
Okay. So it doesn't sound like you were a heavy user of real water.
No.
You were an occasional user?
Occasional drinker, yes.
Yeah. And did anyone else in your family drink it?
My wife and my dog.
Okay. And you fed it to the dog?
Yes.
And what kind of dog is that?
A Chihuahua Min Pen.
How do you spell that last one?
Miniature Pinscher.
Oh, Min Pen.
Yeah, Min Pen, sorry.
So is that a combination or something?
Yes. Yeah, a mix. He's a rescue, 3 weeks old.
Did you observe any problems with the dog after you fed it the real one?
Yes.
Okay, what problems would those be?
I took him to the vet because he was sick. He got sick. I didn't know what it was from. My wife's a vet tech by trade.
What?
My wife is a veterinary technician by trade. So big on animals, and she knows a lot about it, so she keeps the same diet. She's very intricate with her animals. My dog was starting to show symptoms of sickness. I didn't know why, I didn't know what it was. We took him to the vet. It was an issue with his liver. We got him some pills, $300 vet bill later. My wife, she's the one that told me to stop giving him the water because she didn't know what it was, and that's the only thing we changed. So we stopped giving the dog the water.
Did he get better?
Yes.
Okay.
I continued drinking it. It didn't hurt me. I just figured maybe because animals metabolize different. So that was what I thought, but.
Was the exclusive source of liquid that your dog had at that time period the water?
That 1 5 gallon bottle was the one that I'm assuming was that made him sick.
So in other words, you would put the real water in his water dish.
Right.
And he would only have 1 water dish.
Right.
Okay, so that was his sole source 24/7 of water.
Correct.
Whereas you could, have a coffee or something.
I drink coffee most of the time,
Yeah.
occasionally a glass of water.
So your sole source was not the real water.
Correct.
In what time period? You said he showed sickness. He showed signs of sickness. What kind of signs?
When I took him to the vet, he was puking, diarrhea real bad, kept having to go to the bathroom, and he wasn't eating. He wouldn't eat. I took him to the vet, and he gave me pills for his liver.
Was he lethargic too?
Yes, very.
How about any yellow in the eyes? Did you not?
You can't really see his eyes, but I don't know if there was or not.
And you said the vet diagnosed a liver problem?
Yes.
And how do you say what kind of liver problem? It's liver failure?
I have a medication that he gave me to give to the dog. That's at the house. I don't think he left. I still have the bottle though. And
There's some kind of dog medication?
the vet bill and the assessment that the vet gave me. I don't remember exactly.
Who is your vet?
Flamingo Pet Clinic, I want to say the name of it is.
And now, what time period was it that you first observed the dog having symptoms of illness?
I want to say it was in November.
2020?
2020,
this had been made in or around the October timeframe we've been talking about?
Yes.
So this was potentially a bottle that came from the batch that got the extra tuna, things of concentrate?
I don't know what the reason was, but yes, it was a batch of that water. It was a batch of real water. It was a batch of real water. I don't know what the cause of it was. If it was more concentrate or if it was just, I don't know. I just didn't know if maybe dogs didn't metabolize it better, the same or something. I don't know.
But it was potentially the batch that had the extra 2.5 gallons of concentrate?
I guess it could have been.
And how old was the dog?
At the time, let's see, he's 2.5 now. 2, just turned 2. October he would have been 2.
October 2020, he would have been 2.
Yes, October 2020, he would have been 2. October 31st.
And did you report the problems with the dog to anybody at Real Water?
No, I never thought anything like that. I just figured, like I said, that the dog just didn't take to the water.
Have you seen the reports in the newspapers that some dogs actually died?
I heard that.
And you heard that after the lawsuit?
After all of this had come out. Yeah, trust me, if we would have lost my dog, I would have died.
Yeah, not a good thing.
He's like my kid.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, the dog's recovered.
Yes, he's good now. He's good.
When they treated the dog, you know whether or not they did any biopsies of him? In other words, they do tissue samples?
Blood work, I think.
They did blood work?
I think they did blood work, I want to say.
Okay.
I know it was expensive. It was one of my more expensive vet bills that I had to pay. It was $300-400.
And did you hear from any source that Mr. Jones, Wayne Jones, was hospitalized sometime in August 2020?
It was, I know he was hospitalized, I don't know when.
Okay. Does it sound about that?
It sounds about right. September, I think.
2020?
Yes.
And do you know where he was hospitalized?
No, what he told me when he got back, because when he got back to work, he told me that the doctor said it was exhaustion that made him sick.
He was gone for 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
In November of 2020?
October. Yeah, it was October because, it was definitely October because I remember it was November like 10th, I think, is when he did that little training with me when he got back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like mid-October to beginning of November.
So basically he was gone for 2 or 3 weeks in October of 2020?
Yes.
Okay, and that is why you had to call him on the phone about the problem?
Right.
Okay. And by the problem, I mean when the reading was I think you said 170.
It was a little low,
Yeah, when you had the low reading, you had to call him on the phone because he was out.
Yes.
Okay. So did anyone take his place as your supervisor for that 2 or 3 weeks, or you just?
Well, Anthony Brown was mainly the supervisor at that location anyway, so Wayne was in periodically.
Okay.
But it was mainly Anthony that ran everything.
Mm-hmm. And do you understand that he was hospitalized in Salt Lake?
I didn't know where.
You knew it was out of state?
Yeah, I know he was out of town on vacation hunting or something.
Okay, your dog got sick, right?
Correct.
You drank real water for a long time before he got sick, right?
Not a long time, but yeah.
Okay. So something in that batch might have made him sick, right?
I guess it could have.
Yeah. Have you ever thought to yourself, well, what was in that batch, or why did he get sick? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, but it's pretty clear to your mind that the water got him sick.
It seems like it.
Your Honor, that's the end of Mr. Aiken's